Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to crumble!
I'm Joshua Kemble, and welcome to Joshua Kemble's Livestream. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 20 years. I was an art director for 9 years. And when I'm not art directing and working on illustrations and graphic designs, I'm working on comic books and graphic novels, and that's usually what I do during my streams. And while conversations can go all over the place on this stream, from spicy and entertaining to goofy and silly, one thing stays consistent throughout every stream. I'll always be working on art. So pull up a chair, get your art supplies out, and get ready for an entertaining show that'll keep you company while you work on your own personal art projects. This is Joshua Kemble's Art Stream. Good morning, happy Wednesday, everybody. I am live streaming, and you might notice actually around here. I got inspired because my buddy Kevin Cross started live streaming, and he had like an overlay kind of thing, and I was like, I mean, mine's nowhere near as cool as his, but I was like, I gotta actually up my game, and I feel like that's just a good thing to do, is like make things look a little more professional. So that's basically what I did. You'll notice that there's the beautiful type that says "Long live the Kremlin," because, you know, I call my followers the Krembles or the Kremlin, and that's been an inside joke long enough. And then you'll notice that there's a little note about like super chats, so that I don't have to kind of repeat that. And then here we're just talking about what we're going to be working live on, which is Not Death But Love, the strange supernatural story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. So that's basically the plan today, guys. I am super tired. I just woke up. I haven't even showered, honestly. Thus the kind of the beanie. Trust me, I'm not trying to look like Tim Pool today or anything. But anyhow, so I'm going to be working on comics. And to get into it, let's kind of pull it open and get to our comic. Hopefully this kind of makes sense. Like basically, I just have like a nice little border around stuff, and I thought that would be nice. Let me know if you guys have watched the streams, if you find it distracting to have this kind of framing and stuff, but I think it could be pretty cool. And then here is just basically my camera of wonders, where you can see my horribly dirty Wacom, and then to the this side over here, that's the live drawing that I'm going to be working on. So this is the page that I've got so far. This is page 156. That's kind of on the dock. Let some other stuff open. Let's see here. Yes, this will get us all ready. How are you guys doing this morning, by the way, as I get kind of prepared to get into this? So basically what I want to do is I want to start working very hopefully precisely on coloring this page, and that's going to require me to pull open some other pages. See, just pull colors from. So we'll go ahead and pull open page 155, the previous page in this sequence, and we'll probably just get going on it. How are you guys doing this morning? We're all getting ready. So this is the previous colored page. This is a sequence in the story where basically, let me have some coffee too. I hope you guys are having coffee. This is way earlier than I usually stream. Usually right now I'd be, well on my way to work. But I still have about, 3 or 4 days till we're going to start the thing. Also, if you notice, like, glitchy connection, if I keep cutting in and out, that will hopefully be solved. I think around the 1st we're switching internet providers because just the spotty connection's kind of a pain in the butt. But anyhow, so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into coloring and working on comics. If you guys haven't yet, grab yourselves a cup of coffee as well. We might play a little bit. I previewed it on Artcasters earlier today, but basically on Artcasters last night. I just said earlier today because I'm still waking up. Last night on Artcasters, we had Jim Lujan as a guest, and we also showed the made. And I'll probably be showing that again, possibly earlier than the hour mark. Usually I'll take a little break, kind of read chats, that kind of thing, at like the 30 to an hour mark. But today I'm still waking up and I'm on my first cup of coffee. So I might play it a little earlier to get another refill. But let's get into it. So this is the page without the shading, right? This is the page with the shading. And basically why I'm turning the shading off on this is so that I can be consistent with the previous page. So on 156, what we're going to do is start coloring. And in order to what I'm going to do is basically do selections in the area that I want to color. So I'm going to select all these different areas. And then I'm going to expand. And if you hear noises in the background, that would be my family. They're up and hanging out. My son's playing some video games with his nephew. And we got the grandma visiting. And we've got the dogs and all sorts of interesting stuff going on. All right, here we go. And we're just going to kind of get into this. So, what is the agenda here? Start. Okay. So, it was a great conversation yesterday with Jim Lujan. I can't wait to kind of get into it with the page. And without any further ado, we're setting it up. So what I did there was just kind of color fill the area other than the text with white. My transparent pixels in the color area of my comic, specifically for this particular graphic novel that we're doing for Turner Publishing. There's a certain style to it that looks kind of like a tinted photograph. Like, hopefully kind of feels like a Victorian era kind of thing, because and so this is just a style that I kind of developed specifically for this book. So a lot of that's like drawing and then shading more organically than I usually would. Like in my previous books, I've done much more kind of ink work. In this, I'm doing more of a kind of comics. But you tell me. I'm not really gonna, insist on it being the most unique thing in the world. And then basically, underneath this, I'm going to go ahead and fill this with a color. There we go. And that way, the nice thing is, because I've locked transparent pixels, now I can work in kind of a reductive way. Not like reductive, I guess, in the way a lot of people would use the word reductive. But I like to basically take a big selection and then kind of cut out of it. what I'm trying to color. So we'll start with Robert's eyes here. And as I'm making my color selections, basically, I'm going to turn off my shading layer, which is what I was working. And then I'll kind of get into it. So it was a pretty good discussion with indie animator Jim Lujan yesterday. We talked about kind of the idea of making one-off comics or one-off stories versus serialized stories. And it was a really interesting conversation. It got me thinking about it got me thinking a lot about just in general the idea that like when I'm done with this comic and then Two Stories Book 2, which would be the sequel to my first graphic novel called Two Stories Book 1. When I'm done with that, I do think the idea of working on something serialized might be really nice. Like might be can take a really long time. Like these books have all taken years to make. Every graphic novel I've worked on has taken a long time to work on. And so I feel like in theory I want to kind of switch it up. Let's find Robert's eye color. I must have done Robert's eye color. I must have, at least in theory, at least in theory, it seems like a good idea to kind of do like a sequential story. The problem is, did I say sequential story? Man, I am waking up. In theory, it would be fun to do a serialized story, is what I meant. The reason I say in theory is I think that the problem is I tend to be a one-off story kind of guy. Like I tend to do big stories that just wouldn't work like serialized as in books rather than issues. But in theory, it sounds really nice, and I think it's because it's opposite from what I've been doing. The problem is I often will kind of feel that way when I'm, getting to the point on this graphic novel that I am, because I'm getting closer and closer to the finish line, and is as you start getting closer to the finish line, you're very much anticipating it, you're eager, you're kind of enjoying the process, but also there is a part of you that like it's kind of like the part of a musician that is in a really successful band. Not that this isn't successful, but I'm just saying it makes me think of like, imagine a musician who's like in a really successful thrash metal band or something, and then they just get burnt out and they decide to do like a side project that might be an ill-advised one. Maybe they're just like, man, I'm gonna make a drill rap album or something, and it's like it may not be the best idea for what they do, but it's just so the time that while they're working on their thrash metal album, or actually, you know what, I have a real life example of this. It doesn't need to be a hypothetical. It's like oh my gosh, now I'm gonna blank out on his name. I wish I had more people watching. Because I think there's one person watching. So if you're watching and you want to chime in the chats on this and help me out, there's that guy who did like the Achy Breaky Heart song. What was that musician's name? I'm not gonna remember it off the cuff, and I can't quite look it up right now. But anyhow, he was like this huge country musician, and I'm not sure why I can't think of him. Achy Breaky Heart. Fan, okay? Anyhow, well, if you're watching this and in the chats, you're able to like chime in and let me know. Let me know, because I cannot for the life of me remember his name. But anyhow, so this country musician, he's like the biggest musician in the world. He was like filling stadiums and stuff, doing this like really kind of corny like pop country stuff. remembering his alternate name. So the guy kind of loses his mind doing all this country stuff because that's like all he's doing all day. Like he doesn't really have much to prove in it. He's won like every award. He's sold like record numbers of albums. For what he's doing, he's like the top of his game. And then he decides to come up with an alternate Chris Gaines. Now I can't remember the original guy's name, but it was just a funny incident that I do remember Chris Gaines. So he kind of, I think he just got burnt out on like being known as like the country guy. So he creates this alternate persona to do like goth, like it's weird. He dressed all goth and he had like created an alternate persona, and then he started making like, I don't know, it was really weird. It was like soul music, but like poppy soul music. And he did like a fake VH1 behind the music. If you're ever bored and you want to just like see something fascinating, you should look up the Chris Gaines thing. I think I've talked about it on stream before. Anyhow, so probably shouldn't have done it. But I do think that happens with artists when they work in like a specific medium for too long or something like that, where they're like if you're doing country all the time, you're probably like daydreaming about your death metal album. And if you're doing death metal, then maybe you're daydreaming about your your I've been doing graphic novels for a long time, so I do think in my head it just seems like it would be fun to do like a serialized story where you just do issues and there's no like crazy like preset ending. It's just kind of like something you can serialize, like Magnum PI or something like that. Or I've talked about my to do like a fake Victorian story, with like because it was a joke that kind of came out while we were working on this on stream, and by we I mean you, chat, the Kremlin, and me, like working on this graphic novel, which is a historical fiction graphic novel that takes place in Victorian England. But at one point, a fake Victorian story that's basically like Miami Vice, but in Victorian England, but with a lot of like typical stuff that would be in an episode of Miami Vice, like Uzis and jet skis and stuff like that. But it's still written like very poorly, basically saying, hey, this is Victorian England or something like that. Anyhow, that's a joke that came up. But in my head, as I'm like getting this far, it's 156 pages at this point. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Paul, what do you think of the new setup? I got inspired by Kevin because this is something I've wanted to do for a while. And then Kevin did his first live stream and it looked all slick. So I was like, well, I'm not going to match Kevin's slickness, but at the same time, at least a typical, like a basic overlay. I am an artist. I should probably have done that like 5 years ago, but it actually skipped my mind to do it. And then when I saw Kevin's like slick layout, by the way, if you guys haven't watched it, you should check out Kevin Cross's live stream from a couple days ago. It was awesome. I wish I had caught it live, and I'm hoping that Kevin's a good dude and a brilliant storyteller. Anyhow, so anyhow, like the appeal of like this Miami Vice thing in my head, in my fantasy, right? This is just my fantasy, not my reality, is that it's different, right? It's different from the big giant monsters that I keep like taking on. A graphic novel called Two Stories, and that took years. And then I did another graphic novel called Jacob's Apartment. That took years. And I know Paul, who's in the chats, like probably relates to this because Paul has made 3 huge graphic novels. Like they're, gigantic. And so Perez books, and they're great. But it's like when you work on these like long form things, it's like I don't know. Like, I don't know if Paul, if you had that, but I got to the point where I just started feeling like really, like I shouldn't say I got to. I'm at the point where I'm enjoying the process, but I'm daydreaming about like I'm doing the grass is greener kind of thing. Does that make sense? So it's like, and this tends to happen to me like towards the end. Like I have an extra oomph and push and excitement about the project and getting it done, but at the same time, my brain starts wandering into these kind of comic I can do that'll be so much more fun, you know. Anyhow, so like that's where that conversation last night on Artcasters was really interesting to me because it was about one-offs, which is most of my experience doing comics for the last decade or so. Serialized stuff, which is like I don't know, like to me the serialized sounds like a nice break. So I do think I mean I have one more graphic novel that'll probably take a couple years to do after this. And then when I'm done with that, I think I will have earned a day of like possible serialized goofiness, which or an all ages thing. I think Paul mentioned this on our in the chats during Artcasters yesterday too. But it's like there are certain genres that like I don't think lend themselves to serialized. A good example is like this historical fiction book. It's a very slow build and it's a lot of like mystery and intrigue, but it's a lot of subtle stuff. It's kind of like a Jane Austen of like Sense and Sensibility or something. I just don't think that story would be like good as like a serialized story. That's a story that where you really kind of want the whole thing. Um, Imagine like Pride and Prejudice, and it like is in like 10 episodes or something. Like you kind of want to binge the whole thing because it's like a novel. There's not really good stopping points in it, like built into it. And you could probably like make a TV series or something, but it's like if you were to release that TV series or something, you'd want to release like where people could binge the entire thing. Le gasp, said Dylan. A new look. Yeah, I got inspired by Mr. Kevin Cross. I've been wanting to do this for years, and then I forgot about it because I'm a busy guy. And then Kevin, I'm stoked. He's starting the live stream, and I just saw his layout, which is way better than bare minimum of something. so this is my attempt to like at least be doing something passable. It's a I threw it together in like a couple minutes, but it's like it needed to be there. Dylan said that woman looked horrifying without the line art. Yeah, that's the fun part. The weird here. Um, so let me get into that actually. Like, so I had a teacher in college who taught a class. This is how old I am. There wasn't a class specifically for like Illustrator. Like now, if you go to art school, you'll take like a class design or illustration. You'd be learning digital art. Like you'd probably have a class for Photoshop, a class for Illustrator, a class for maybe InDesign. Like all of these different things would be like a class. And in graphic design even, like so at the time I was going though, there was one class called Production for Fine Art. And it was like slammed into one class. Anyhow, my good friend Rick Reese was my teacher at the time, and for Production for Fine Art, and he had done art for like colors for Bongo back in the day, like Bongo Comics, who did The Simpsons and stuff like that. And so I remember he showed us how to flash, and then he actually had us do a little bit of ghost work, like my friend Kevin and I, not Kevin Cross, different Kevin, and we were doing like some really quick like crazy ghost work. The funny thing is he gave it to my friend Kevin, and then my friend Kevin, like most new artists, like young artists at the time, he felt like he bit off more than he could chew. So like he came over to my apartment, and then he would do like 4 hours like flatting, and then sleep, and then I'd do like a couple hours. At the time, I was awful at it, so my friend Kevin kind of took over most of it. But anyhow, the thing that was wild was like looking at like Bongo comics without the line art, because they're so clean. Comics, you know, the original, and they hire like legendary cartoonists for that. Like, in fact, my friend Rick would tell me stories about it. Like, I guess when he worked at Bongo back in the day, like Mark Hamill's son was like one of the employees there, but his job was like being like a historian for The Simpsons, which sounds like a pretty, would never be able to, just not as familiar with all the episodes and lore of The Simpsons, but talk about a cool job. Anyhow, so he had all these stories, but the thing that was interesting is because Matt Groening was such a huge fan of comics and came up in the indie scene, he would go out of his way to like hire, you know, like crazy, amazing, like legend who'd been, you know, Mad Magazine cartoonists and cartoonists who'd done like, you know, stuff for Marvel, like all these heavy hitting cartoonists, and he'd pay them really handsomely just to draw Simpsons, you know. And I think a lot of it was because of his love for the indie scene. So anyhow, you're getting Ethernet because you're blurry at the moment and still cutting in and out. Okay, I'm blurry. Interesting. Let me see if I can at least check the settings. Yeah, I mean, the internet here is so bad. Let me see if I can at least check my settings on my camera. Let's see if that works. If I go to color correction. The gamma up, and then maybe the contrast up. Gamma down a little bit. What do you think? What do you think? It's all gammaed. What do you think? Paul was saying yes, blurry. Hopefully it's not all blurry. I don't know. Hopefully the art's not blurry too. Let me know in the chats. Dylan said, "Did you see Paul's proposal a few comments up?" No, I didn't. He said I'm on a break from work. Send me a link and I'll jump on a couple minutes. Yeah, 100%. Let me. Let's see here. The thing is, if I have you join, I'm just gonna like all of this will shrink and then we'll just kind of have a regular background, which is fine. Let me see here. Paul Pate. Mr. Pate. Mr. Pate. Paul, LinkedIn, Facebook. So if you want to hop on. Hopefully I'm not dipping in and out too much. I was a little worried. Yeah, Paul later said, "Will you marry me?" And I was a little concerned that might be the case. So anyhow, Paul, once you again, Facebook, look for the link. I just sent it to you. And then once you're in the waiting room and lobby or what, oh, there you are. I'll put you on up there. All right, we got Paul Pate. How's it going, Paul?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. Let me turn up my volume. You're not blurry. Am I blurry?
I think you are. It's weird. I thought it was me.
Right now?
I think so. It looks like it to me.
Huh. Well, it might be. See, usually I'm wearing my glasses. Now I'm wondering because I'm like everything's a little blurry.
Let me see if you're still blurry.
Uh,
Yeah, you're still blurry.
it looks crisp to me, but that's so weird. Very blurry. Just me or the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah.
Even the art?
Yep.
Interesting. If I do this, does it unblur it?
Nope.
Interesting. What is going on? Let me check on YouTube. The heck? Because it looks crisp on StreamYard, so now I'm wondering, now I want to see YouTube and see my spotty connection. Okay, this might kind of, what would it be called, like slapback or something? You might hear some slapback. I'm just gonna check, because that's wild. That's wild, just wild. Okay, Okay, here we go. I would like to peek at this and see where we're at.
Good morning, Jim.
There we go. Is Jim in?
Jim's there.
Jim, if you want to hop in, you can. Jim, do I look blurry to you? Do I look blurry? What's going on with this blurry business? Okay, I'm checking YouTube. Oh, I am like super blurry.
Yeah.
Well, what the heck? That's bizarre.
When I opened it up, I thought it was me.
Was it like? Has it been like that the entire time?
Well, I just got on, so.
Oh, that is so weird. Then why would it be unblurry on StreamYard? Let me.
But I'm looking at you on StreamYard.
Is that better? No.
No.
And I look blurry in StreamYard to you.
Right.
Interesting. Let's see here. I'm just.
You also look blurry in person.
Yeah, that's true. The truth is, I just am a very blurry person.
You walk around like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's bizarre. Oh, that's so sad. Okay. Well, let me see what I can do. Oh, okay. I wanted to check my settings. Can I not do that? Okay, here we go. Okay.
I hate to tell you to try. I hate to try to tell you to reboot.
Yeah, I might have to. We'll see. How strange is that? Is that any better if you're in chats, guys?
Well, that looks like it improved slightly, but you're still blurry.
Oh, weird. Okay. Let's look what's going on here. Let's go to settings. Camera. Should I do... Is this better?
I feel like I'm at the eye doctor. 1 or 2?
How's that?
3. It's weird, Josh. It's like it's improving, and then the blur goes.
Interesting. That is really weird. Settings. Maybe there's like a visual effect.
That's weird.
None. Blur.
4.
None. I'm just seeing. I'm trying a bunch of different stuff, and we'll see if that all works.
Yeah, the weird thing is like it might not take the setting right away, or StreamYard's weird.
Yeah, it's a bizarre one, man. Shift videos. Show resolution badge on stage. Let's see if that works. Did that work? Hey, I don't know, guys. This is wild.
Yeah, I think now you're frozen.
Oh, am I frozen?
Yeah.
Okay, this is just bizarre, man. Okay, let me try the log off and log back on thing, and we'll see if that works. Because it looks so crisp on my end.
Am I
That's
able to
really
stay
strange.
here while you do that?
I think so.
Pirate live streaming. I've taken over Josh's live stream.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Click the button that says turn off the blur. I'm looking for it. That is so strange. Yeah. Guess camera general. That is just bizarre. Sorry, I thought we were gonna have a nice conversation. Now I'm like a little concerned about this.
But this is like I'm at work.
Let's see if this works.
I'm supposed to be taking a break.
It is blurry. Let's see. I gotta kind of check if this is gonna be blurry.
You've been frozen for. I don't think anything's changed. You've been frozen for the last couple of minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, weird. Okay. Okay, there's definitely something weird.
Can you leave the stage?
I'm gonna try to leave. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go to StreamYard again. Okay, so I'll be right back.
I don't quite know what to say, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Joshua Kemble live stream.
Mr. Paul Pate, do I look better?
Yeah, there you go.
It is clean now?
Yeah,
Okay.
clear.
Okay, this is what it looks like, guys.
Nice new layout too, by the way. Really nice.
Jim was saying worst case scenario, it's cool. Okay, so anyhow, how are you doing, Paul? What are you up to?
Oh, like I said, I was at work and I just got kind of well, I'm waiting to eat lunch, but I can't eat lunch too soon.
Nice.
So I thought, let me open up YouTube, and I saw you there. And I was talking with Jim the other day about his new what do you call it? Ad for your stream.
Yeah.
What
are your thoughts?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, they're hilarious.
I'm kind of glad I didn't play it before because it would have been all blurry. People would have been like, "What's up with Jim's blurry thing?" It's like,
but that Jim, he's a funny guy, and his ads are funny. So anyway, I was talking with him.
Incredible, yeah.
So, and I was like, oh, I want to do one with Detective Perez reading the books, reading Jacob's Apartment and 2 stories. So I've been trying to think of a short ad that I can do for that. So
I love it.
Maybe
you don't even have to pitch my stuff too hard at all. Like, definitely focus on the Detective Perez stuff, and then you could at the end be like, "And Josh's books are okay." It could literally be an afterthought, like, this is what I'm pitching. This is what the story is, and this guy's stuff's okay.
Yeah, no, it would be in line with the others, the other ones. But
I would be stoked, man. I think I've mentioned this a million times, but the Detective Perez stuff is so good. They're some of my favorite books. They're super fun and like very impressive, man.
Yeah, you're selling my books like hotcakes. We're burning down or destroying forests all over the world trying to keep up with demand. So,
Oh,
what'd you say?
Like, they're limited supply, so it's like people really should get out there. This is just what I've heard. I can't factually confirm that, but no, they're great books. Like, you should feel really proud of them. Weirdly, so have you had like the kind of moment I was talking about at the beginning of this thing where I don't know if you were listening at that point, but the point I'm at on my book is like, that conversation we were having yesterday on Art Casters about like serialized versus by the way, blurry.
What's that? You cut out there
Jim
again.
said you're a furry and not a blurry in the chats. But yeah, so we had that conversation with Jim about serialized versus one-offs. And I was realizing today that like the last week and a half, I've just been like fantasizing about doing serialized stuff because I've been doing so many one-offs. And I was wondering, have you had that kind of hit like toward the end of the Detective Perez novels where you're like, I need to work on something a little like more free, like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, I can't imagine. Mine is like a year-long process.
Yeah.
Yours is multi-year. So I mean, definitely. I think I found that my attention span for projects is about 2 years, just like on anything.
Yeah.
Like I'll get involved in different like hobbies and projects and things, and for about 2 years I really like it, and then my interests start to wane. So yeah, definitely.
But something keeps bringing you back.
Well,
I mean, because you've done 3 of them.
No, I'm talking about other stuff.
Oh, okay.
But for graphic novels, like I think the 3 that I've done, the first one took 2.5 years, but the last 2 took about a year.
Yeah.
And, that's a good long project for me. But there's definitely like different stages of it where, like you're excited the first 30 pages.
Yeah.
You're excited, and then you get to 30 pages, and you're like, "This is a bunch of crap. Why am I doing this? Why am I wasting my life on this junk?" And then you get like that feeling of embarrassment, like, "Oh my god, I'm such a dork." But then you got to keep going. So, and then
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like it's like it almost is like, as if like cartoonists, we have to have like a little bit of amnesia or something. Like we just easily forget.
Yeah.
Because like I'm enjoying the process right now, but part of it's because I've just like kind of forgotten the 100 pages before.
Yeah, I know, right? And
it's kind of weird, and I feel like maybe if I had like a more solid memory, I wouldn't. What's that?
It's like how when women have a baby and then after that they forget all the labor pain.
Yeah, I was saying it's like like when women have a baby, and I'm glad she said that because if I said that, I think I would have gotten murdered by her. So I'm glad she said.
No, it's exactly it. Yep.
That it's like birth, because I'm not going to make that claim. Having witnessed a birth, I don't think anything's like birth. That's a brutal. But I do think there are analogies to it, like where it, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm at the end of my second book. I said I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
And then here I am, considering starting my 4th. So
you have to, but of course you have to do this animation first.
Yeah.
What is going on? Like, see now, do you see this? It's feathering. Like, I don't have it set on feather.
Josh, is this your first time using this new layout?
Yes. Yeah. Why? What's up?
Just curious.
Yeah. So it was inspired by Kevin Cross because I have been wanting to do this for years and just forgot. Like it's one of those things. I'm like, I should do this, and then I'd put it on like the back burner, even though it's something I'm not doing anything as fancy as his. But it was like just a good reminder where I was like, oh yeah, you can do that, like the overlay thing, and then it looks a little more professional. So I patched this thing together this morning, but I was like, I was like, I gotta at least have something. You know, Kevin's looked so slick. I mean, his is
Really?
TV in the corner that like you actually see like an overlay of the TV, like the fuzz. It's really cool. Yeah, I didn't even know he was streaming till I think Jim gave me a heads up, or Scott. I think it was Scott who told me yesterday, and I was like, oh, so I caught it like last night.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I was working to like. Which also happens with comics. Why do we do comics, Paul?
I don't know. Listen, what was it?
Because they get really addictive too. Like I kept going, oh, I'll go to sleep after I finish shading this panel, and then it's like, no, I'll go to sleep after I finish shading 2 panels, and then before you know it, it's like 4 a.m, and I'm like, I finished shading the page. Woo.
There was a
like
to an interview. Well, first of all, I've heard Gary Hodges say, like, you know how he like deeply analyzes every little thing that he does, right?
Yes.
And he was like, at some point, you need to figure out why you're doing what you're doing. And that didn't necessarily vibe with me. Like, I was watching an interview, and I think I actually sent this to Gary and Jim. With somebody, or I was listening to an interview while I was driving, and it was of somebody, and they said, like, you just like what you like.
Yeah.
You know, and at some point, I can't give you the reason why.
Yeah.
You know,
no,
it's just what I like. It's just my, you know, whatever.
No, I'm totally. The other thing was like, then I finished the comic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this is like a sickness or something, but like the second I finished the comic, I'm looking at like Sweetwater at guitars, and I'm like, why? I don't need a guitar. I just can't not look at guitars. I love guitars.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy another one, I don't think, but it's like it actually took some willpower. You know, it actually took a little willpower where I'm like, I don't even have the money to buy a guitar right now.
The way that you said that, you're definitely gonna buy another one.
No, I can't. I literally can't afford to. Like, I'm not in a position. Like, I had a big career change last year. There's no money. That's pulling from an empty well. But you know what's funny is like it's partially because I subscribe to a lot of YouTube channels that are like guitar related, and somebody had reviewed a guitar, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty nice. It's so bad. So it's like comics and guitars are like my 2 horrible vices. Yeah.
Yeah, at some level, I don't think you can explain it. You know, I mean, you can to a certain point, but at some level, it just gets down to the fact that you like what you like.
Yeah.
You know, and why do we do this? It's just what we do. Can't
Yeah,
explain
and
it any further.
I'm getting more at peace with that. Like, I used to be a lot more confused by it, but I think the nice thing, you know, I'm in like my mid 40s now, right? And the nice thing that happened when I hit 40 was just like the amount of like F's I give, basically, are like minimal about anything. Like, I am kind of okay with like I think Tom Jones is rad. I have no problem admitting that. I might have had to like sarcastically say that when I was younger, whereas now I can be like, no, Tom Jones is radness. Like, things like that just don't take as much weight, and it's very similar with like things I like. I agree. It's just you know. At some point, I've just come to terms with the fact that I'm gonna be doing cartooning because that's just the thing I do. It's like I just don't feel right when I don't do it.
Yep. Same.
Take on it is just you like what you like. Yeah, but it is interesting how I still do have like a grass is greener. In fact, Jim mentioned one of my grass is greeners. He said Ben Mara's what we meant by yesterday strip. It's a great format. He does them really quickly and not detailed. They're great to read on Instagram. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of those scenarios where I love Ben Mara's stuff, and when I look at what we mean by yesterday, I'm like, he must have so much, because it just looks like he's having fun, you know.
Right.
And
when I watch Jim draw, I think the same thing.
yeah, it just looks super fun. But
Yeah.
then, like, I don't know, when I see Jim work, I'm like, well, he is it's a lot of hard. I'm sure it's a lot of hard work for Ben Mara. I'm sure it's like a grass is greener thing where I'm like, well, that would be nice. And then, like, if you saw on the other side, it's like they're probably looking at another cartoonist.
Yeah.
I heard Chris Ware talked about that, where he at the time that I saw him talk, this is like years ago, but it was like right after Jeffrey Brown kind of blew up with like Clumsy. And he was a Chicago cartoonist, and Ware was a Chicago cartoonist. So Ware had seen Jeffrey Brown stuff, and he's like, oh man, he's probably the cartoonist who's having fun, because he has like such a loose style. And then so he made a goal to like get to know Jeffrey Brown, because he's like, I'm gonna find out, like, he might be the one guy who's like just having a blast doing this. And he met him, and he's like laboring over it and hates it, and just like and he was like, oh, even like there's and he goes, so I kind of feel like it might be one of those scenarios where I'm like, oh, that guy's got to be having fun.
Yeah,
Graham Annabelle's a guy I would have, had I not met him, like, I would have thought just must have a blast cartooning, because his, like Grickle characters and stuff, they're so like loose and fun.
Who is that?
Graham Annabelle he used to be a part of this indie, like, so I met him. He's crazy big now. Like, he co-directed Box Trolls, which is crazy. But when I met him, he was doing stuff for alternative comics under this like guise of, or not guise, but it was like an anthology called Hickey.
Okay.
And it's just hilarious. And it was him and like Scott C. and like a bunch of the Double Fine guys.
You mentioned Grickle, though.
Yeah.
What is Grickle?
Grickle's his like it's just a character that he invented, but it's kind of a style that Graham's work is in. So he also
I love Grickle. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, his cartooning's phenomenal, and like, but anyhow, I met him through Jeff Mason, the publisher of alternative comics, my first time at Ape, because Jeff Mason was like, if you want a booth at Ape, we have a booth. So I got to booth at like the alternative comics booth, and I met them, and I had never heard of any of them. I'm kind of glad I hadn't. So I was just like, oh, I've got this new comic out and stuff. And they're like, yeah, we're doing stuff for this company called Double Fine. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then it's like, people kept coming up, just of people, And
kept coming up
and then I got, what's up?
People kept coming up, and what? You cut out there for just a second.
Oh, it was weird, because I hadn't heard of his stuff, but there's like a massive line at the booth, and people were like, you could tell they really enjoyed his comics, because they'd come up just like chuckling, and they'd mention like one of his bits from the Hickey end. Anyhow, so like I met him, and then a couple years later after that, like I stayed in touch with him, and then he actually hosted my wife and I when we were first going to move to Portland. So we went up and stayed at his house, and like that's where I got to know his process a little bit too. And I was like, oh, this guy's like not
he's not having fun at all.
Yeah. And I mean, he's an incredible cartoonist. I've lost touch with him since then, but it was interesting, because at that time too, Leica was just starting, and he had just got a gig there, and he was talking about them working on like an adaptation of Coraline, because he was just working as an animator on it. And I think prior to that, he had worked for like Lucasfilm on the what was the other thing?
The Clone Wars?
No, it was like a game, but it was like Monkey Island.
Oh, okay.
So he had been like one of the key animators on Monkey Island, and then worked for Double Fine, and then Leica. But yeah, really inspiring guy. About the same time I met like David. But anyhow, yeah. If also, I think I was dumb at that time, and I'd look at his stuff. I was a younger cartoonist, you know, so I was like, well, that's a simple way of working, you know. And then obviously I cartooned long enough to start realizing like the way he works is harder than anything. Like you know, to make like a little more than a stick figure, but it's so refined and expresses so much, and he can just change a line subtly and it's a totally different character. It's like that guy's one of the best cartoonists alive, you know.
So
like
it'd be really fun to delve into Benjamin Mara's process and see what's really going on there, you know.
yeah, I mean, like I love his work.
But I mean, we've both spent enough time with Jim to know that you can have just almost, you know, unadulterated fun just drawing shit, you know.
Yeah, Jim does enjoy the process a lot more, but I've still, even with Jim, like I've seen times where he's like, you know, dragging on a project's not vibing, you know.
Yeah. But
so it's you know, and I think Jim is probably looking at Jim's a guy I imagine like really enjoying the process, and generally my experience with Jim has been that, but I'm guessing why he's bringing up Ben Mara is I'm guessing that's the grass is greener for Jim. Where he's like, ooh, that looks fun what he's doing on Instagram. Am I wrong, Jim? Let me know in the chat. Let's just talk about Jim just as if he's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely, you know, like the grass is greener is a thing that I always look at. And another thing though is I mean, for me, as I've gone through all these different projects, you know, I've done shorter comic books, I've done animation, you know, I do my little portraits and stuff. But my big project is these graphic novels, and I've gotten comfortable with, like you were saying, you get comfortable. As you get older, you give less of a crap.
Yeah,
and then you also get comfortable with your style, and this is just who I am. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be working, and I'm not going to be doing like, you know, what is the Spawn guy, Todd McFarlane pages, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not, you know, you just get comfortable with who you are the more you do, you know.
No, that's totally true. Yeah, because I think early on I was very comparative. When I was much younger, I think I was really comparative. Like I would kind of compare and despair a lot, you know. Yeah, and I think that's kind of natural, like because you're kind of developing. So like it's kind of good.
Some of it is healthy, you know.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, you're always trying to improve yourself, and you look to be inspired by others. So, but
you do definitely get to an age where you're like, you know, I don't know, like early 20s, I think I was like very convinced I was going to get an Eisner. You know, like I just had all these wild like ideas of what was possible. And I guess, you know, I think I've talked about this before, but I think that's kind of healthy and possibly really good because every once, like, I don't know, a lot of the, like even early gigs I got as an illustrator, I have no idea what was going through the art director's head for hiring me at early work, you know, and I was doing my best, but it's just like my first year or so, you know, I mean, my work was not where you know, where it developed to. So I don't know how I thinking like, I'm ready, let's do this. And I guess there is some value to that kind of, I don't know, like piss and vinegar of like, you know, of being hungry. I don't know.
Yeah. Sure is. Yep.
But it is funny in retrospect because it's like, you know, you are kind of looking at other artists, at least at that time. But it's also just the insecurity of like, especially your 20s, man. I feel like.
Oh my God, yeah.
I feel like if I could have the health that I had in my 20s, but the brain I have now, right? I would be the happiest person alive. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yep. For sure. I mean, yeah. You get to give your son the advice, you know. So hopefully, when he gets to his 20s, you can give him everything that you know.
But I feel like it is one of those things of like you can always give sage advice, but I do feel like some of it's just the passage of youth. Like you're just gonna kind of go through it, you know.
Yeah. And you know, he might have all the things that you didn't have, and you're so happy about that, but he's suffering from not having something else that you had, you know. So everybody's different. Yeah, it's a circle of life. It's hilarious.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I think that it's like even the grass is greener with like success, right? Because I've met people who like are well, I know some people who are pretty successful, you know, like they've got like a lot of laurels, you know,
Yeah,
and it's like a lot of that feels kind of alienating for those people because it's like, you know, some of like I've thought about it, like if one of my bands had blown up or something when I was younger, like what a weird experience that would be because like you wouldn't be able to trust who your friends are. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like a so that's why I'm glad I'm poor. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna play Jim the Kremble Files if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I gotta go eat lunch, so it was really fun chit chatting. I just thought I'd jump on.
Before you leave, drop where people can get the Detective Perez stuff and check out your stuff.
Yeah. If you go to paulpate.com and you can find a link there to Amazon that has my author page, and they got three graphic novels that are more detective stuff. So check it out.
I love it. Yeah, definitely make sure you guys check that out. Paul, thanks for stopping in, man. It's always fun chatting with you, buddy.
Yeah, likewise, Josh. Keep after it, man.
Awesome. I will.
Talk with you later.
All right. Have a good one, man.
See ya.
Well, Mr. Stryker, I have you now. There is no escape. You will tell me where the Kemble files are, or you will die beneath the crushing electric arms of my shocktopus.
I hear you chirping, little birdie, but JT Stryker ain't no stool pigeon.
Very well. You have left me no choice. Bring out the doctor. Say hello to Dr. Hodges. I'm sure you're familiar with the doctor and his work.
If by work you mean the murder and torture of innocents, yeah, I'm familiar.
I've waited a long time for this moment, Stryker, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it.
That's what your mother said.
Well, that's a horrible thing to say. You don't even know my mother.
Don't let him interrupt you. Come on, man.
Look, fellas, we can tango here all night, but it doesn't change a thing. You're never getting the Kemble files.
Oh, I beg to differ, Stryker. I have certain negotiation methods.
Your mom has negotiation methods.
Stop it. That didn't even make sense. That's not even... It's not applicable.
Listen up, compadres, and listen good. Option 1, I'm giving you 2 bozos and out. You untie me, I walk out of here, and everybody goes home happy. Option 2, I kill everyone in this room and then...
You idiot! You killed him!
I felt triggered. I've been learning to stand up to bullies. I just read 2 stories. Joshua Kemble's raw, introspective graphic novel chronicling mental health, faith, and the struggle for redemption. I also read Jacob's Apartment, a coming-of-age graphic novel about faith, love, and post-college existential drama. They've changed my life choices.
I'm sorry. I had no idea. I, too, am a fan of the books of the Joshua Kemble. But I'm still going to have to kill you.
Kill me with kindness?
All right. Now I'm all paranoid because, like, generally, like my closer sight, but because it was mentioned that things were blurry and I couldn't tell whether it was my sight or not, I'm just gonna rock my glasses while I work. Anyhow, so welcome back to the live stream. We're just chilling for a second, having a little bit of coffee. Talked to Paul Pate, which was catching up with Paul. I've hung out with Paul Pate in person too. He's a really good dude. the last time we hung out in person, we went to what was it? Oh, Golden Road Brewery, and that was awesome. I will tell you guys, like, if you're ever in, like, right outside of Seal Beach, like, kind of across the way from Harbor House on PCH in Seal Beach, there's a Golden Road Brewing, and they make like a michelada with chamoy that is just delicious. Because like one of my favorite mango cart, but it's like spicy, and it actually changed my flavor palette. Like before that, I had never really had micheladas. I remember a long time ago, before we even met up, I would get those mango cart samplers, the Golden Road mango carts, and so they'd have like street cart and all these different flavors. And there was one that was like this mango cart, and it was so good. That was the first time I had had like a spicy beer, which I'm sure makes me sound like a total gringo or something. But it's like it was mind blowing to me. So ever since then, every once in a while I'll have a michelada with chamoy and stuff on it because it's delicious. But anyhow, that was a really good meetup. The last time I paid, it was really fun, and I think Caligula actually stopped by too. But we gotta meet up again. We gotta get Paul out to California again. Or I guess the next time Paul's in California, make sure you give me a heads up, Jim, and we'll all meet up again, because Paul's just good people. All right, back to it. We took our little break. I stretched. I enjoyed Jim Lujan's new cartoon. It gave me extra time to stretch and kind of get ready. Hopefully you guys are ready to rock some creativity. Let me see. I think Scott's messaging something. I'm not sure what. Let me see what Scott's saying here. Oh, okay. I still haven't watched the chipmunk video that was sent, but telling me about chipmunks and stuff like that. Okay, let's get into it. So we're gonna draw the next thing. Let me know in the chats too if I'm blurry or if there's a lot of like cutting out. There have been just bizarre internet issues, which is why we are switching our service. So that kind of thing. But yeah, I do wonder what it is. Really enjoy this project. I'm really enjoying this book. But it is a fascinating thing. It's like, it's almost like, I've heard of people having this when they have kind of wanderlust or whatever, which I've never really suffered from too big. Like, what like this is just for anybody who might not know. If you already know, then just. But wanderlust, right, is when you're just kind of wanting to travel a lot, right? And I know some people who just have that in their personality where they almost have like a bucket list of like places they need to go. And, so they'll be like, I'm going to go to Australia and I'm going to go to India and I'm going to go to, I'm not going to list any more stuff because that these people would want to hypothetically visit. But like my sister's like that. Like she really likes traveling and stuff. But what I've noticed is like people who like traveling like and kind of enjoy those experiences of like really going out there and traveling a lot of places and stuff. A lot of them, and I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of people I've met who do that have this weird kind of thing that happens when they travel where the nation they wanted to go, and the second they're there, they're homesick, right? It's kind of like a weird thing like that, like where you get kind of homesick if you're away or traveling, and then if you're at home and you're kind of a person who's like a traveler, then suddenly you're like, wow, I got to get to that next place on the list. I do think that's just kind of part of the human condition a little bit, but it's interesting because it's like, art is, oh my gosh, this is going to sound so corny. art is a journey, you guys. But it is. I mean, art's kind of a journey, and so I think we're kind of equivalent to that person. I shouldn't say we either. I should say, oh, Dylan said, you're not blurry anymore, and as soon as I say that, you get a little blurry. Oh, no. Let's see here. I'm gonna just have YouTube open so that I can kind of check. But I've never gotten blurry before. That's really strange. Itself, because I've just never had connection issues that make you blurry, you know? That's just a uniquely interesting thing. But let me double check. Let me check up on it. I have to, like, actually pull up YouTube, because it looks great to me on StreamYard. I don't know what on the other end, so let's find out. While that loads. Jim was saying, enjoying what you have while we have it is something that really should be examined more. It really should. I also think, like, the analogy my wife was making about birth or whatever wasn't off. Like, I do think there's something about the act of creation is birthing something. It's not going to be as intense as actual. Oh, I look pretty clear. Okay, I'm not blurry to the level I was before. So I'm not as blurry as I was before. The act of creation is kind of like it is kind of giving birth to something. It's not as extreme as childbirth, but I do think there's something analogous to that in life in general, where I think that anything worthwhile is a lot of work, and I when you get through the work, there's this almost like mourning phase. I don't know if that makes sense, like almost like a postpartum, right? And I think this is like kind of just across the board with a lot of stuff. So I think that keeping with this analogy, it's like almost like even this is horrible to say, because I wouldn't say when you're actually giving birth, but in this hypothetical, even when you're through the pains of labor or whatever, you got to enjoy it, because that is the process. Like, that is kind of, you know, as cliche as it is, like, the journey is the destination. And I've been getting better at that. Like, I haven't been hating the process of this book as much as, you know, I've had that issue before. I just have been getting in that point of, like, my mind's wandering to, like, all the other things I want to do while working on it. Like, and I think that's just an end of the thing kind of thing. I don't know. I'm rambling here. Help me out, guys, in the chats. Yeah, Jim was saying, you and I had all the guitars and instruments we needed before we bought our last guitars. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. I love all the guitars I have, and here's my rule in general. My new rule, I think, with guitars should be, until I've gotten to the point where I have played all of my guitars in, like, the same week, then I'm good for guitars. You know what I mean? Like, if I have guitars I haven't played in a week, I probably don't need more guitars, you know? It's a beautiful thing. It's kind of like cars. Like, some people really love cars. And it's one of those things of, like, there's just so many beautiful models. I just enjoy guitars in general. I enjoy watching guitar videos. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to own every guitar on the planet. And I have a lovely selection of guitars that I'm very thankful for. Looking at guitars, And man, I gotta say, like that Guild Surfliner, have you seen that guitar, Jim? I'm not an offset guitar type of guy. Like my bandmate has always had offset guitars. And so even though I'm like a 90s kid, because I was always in a band with him, it just, an offset always sounded good juxtaposed with like, you know, one of my guitars. Let's see here. I think we got a delivery, guys. So anyhow, point being, like, I'd known to offset guitars. I can appreciate them, you know, and that's like Jaguars or Mustangs or, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, that inevitably becomes the thing where I'm like, well, I don't own an offset guitar, and it's like I don't need to. My buddy plays offset guitars. It's just, I don't play them that often, you know. But then I see the Guild Surf cool and it's pretty, you know. Anyhow, I guess there's a lesson there somewhere. Yeah, actually, that's not a bad rule. Jim said if one guitar is added, another should be subtracted. I actually don't even think that's a bad idea. But it is funny because, like, it's funny that that's one of my big weaknesses. Is one of my joys is just, you know, but it's kind of like Paul was saying, where it's like you just kind of like what you like. And the thing is, I like guitars. I like the guitars I have. I like almost all the guitars out there in the world. I even have a soft spot for like really bad guitars because I grew up with bad guitars. So, you know, if I see a guitar that's like $50, I'm like, I want that guitar because it looks like fun to mess around with, even though it's terrible. I just want to play them all. But yes, I don't need to own more guitars. I just rambled about guitars for a long time. Anyhow, this expression, by the way, of this character that I'm drawing was really kind of hard to... angry, but also kind of cocky. And so that was the aim with that expression, but it was really hard to capture because it kept looking funny. Like, every time I drew that face, it just looked kind of weird. And then I finally think I got it, you know. But that, I don't know. To me, that angle and expression was really hard to pull off. Part of the trick was, like, pulling the lip, like, low. Because initially I drew it too high, and she looked just too pissed off without a sense of kind of, like, almost like stubbornness. And this is a scene where she's like Sophie at this point, the character is speaking really out of turn to Robert. Like, she's pretty much telling Robert that she knows his wife better than he does. That kind of statement. They're kind of having a confrontation here. And part of why they're having a confrontation is she's literally shown up in the middle of the night to hang out with Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is sick primarily because Sophie convinced her to do this like outdoor party while she was sick. So Robert's kind of not having it, and then there's this face-off where she's saying, and there are confidences she and I have shared that you will never know of. And then I just realized I totally don't know why I punched. And that's bad. She shouldn't be saying Robert takes a step forcefully towards her. That shouldn't have been there. I might have to revise this. Wow, that's crazy. That's what happens when you work late into the night, guys. You make... you actually take parts of the script that are... – 'cause, 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 'c All right. I haven't made that mistake in a long time. I'm kind of glad it's on stream, though, because you kind of will make mistakes, and that's okay. Maybe you're a mistake-proof artist. I am not. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to clip this, and then we're going to continue. We just got to revise the line art real quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete here. And then we're going to do a paste here. Move that up. That buys a lot more room. I have to adjust the tail and we'll kind of fix this. Dylan said, in witchcraft, creation of any sort is connected to birth, so you're technically correct. Nice. Good to know. I think there are a lot of cyclical, like, analogous things in life. I think there's a reason cliches exist, you know? You know, and truisms and stuff. It's like there's definitely wisdom. Like old people have a lot of wisdom. I'm saying this mainly now because I'm an old person. Old people also sometimes have a lot of foolishness too, but we have a lot of collected wisdom. There's one thing people is that they will talk in probably a lot more tropes and truisms, because there is just kind of age-old wisdom that you either are going to like learn young or you're going to learn the hard way old, you know? Just basic stuff, you know, like in where is it, Mary Poppins or whatever? Isn't it in Mary Poppins where the dad is kind of like he's no fun, and like he tells his kid to invest their money instead of feeding the pigeons or whatever? I watched that again recently, and yeah, that character like needed to lighten up and enjoy life and stuff like that. But he wasn't wrong. Like, if you invest that tiny amount, like that kid would have been loaded if he had invested that instead of feeding the stupid birds. So here's the thing. Should you know, is life only about money? No, but like that Disney movie's stupid. He should have the dad was right. Okay? That's all I'm saying. You know? Anyhow, have you guys rewatched Mary Poppins recently? I don't know. It's interesting. I felt a little more sympathetic to the father character. Like, he is a little too much of a workaholic, but still, at the same time, I'm like, that investing thing isn't wrong. Like, his investing advice, and I wouldn't have listened to it as a kid.
For the future, right? But he missed out on all of the present.
Yes. So my wife very rightly pointed out the message there, which was don't just invest in the future, you need to invest in the present. And that's true. But
Could have died that day and had no idea whose children were.
that's very true. That is very true. Yes. Anyhow, point being, I still think rewatching that, I still felt like to an extent though, like, yeah, but like do like invest that money because it's probably a good idea. Dylan was saying invest in the now. Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm not a hoarding fan. Like when it comes to wealth, I do think it's unhealthy to an extent to like just scrap away your money and stuff like that. But there's age-old wisdom about like investing, and I wish I had listened to that when I was younger. Like my first job or whatever like was like at an AM PM, right? If I had taken like a quarter of my paycheck instead of buying like a cool sound system, like, or 15 guitars, and just invested it, you can tell I've learned my lesson as an adult. No, I mean, I definitely, anyhow. Yeah, Dylan was saying, as he gets older, he is finding that typical phrases are kind of correct. Sometimes they are. The other thing is though, like even like a lot of truisms are correct. Like for instance, on here's the thing: people on their deathbed are rarely going to be like, "Wow, I wish I had saved more money." You know, like that just rarely is going to be the concern. You know what I mean? Like most of the time, and they've studied this, but I think most people on their deathbed wish they had spent more time with family, friends, like, you know, been more giving, that kind of stuff. Like generally people aren't, you know, on their deathbed going, wow, I wish I had bought more stocks, you know. But, you know, if as a young man I had bought a couple stocks, like I probably would have been a lot better today. But then again, who knows? Like here's where I'm rambling again, but that also could have been horrible because, like, I'm not really a very materialistic person, and that could make you a really materialistic person.
Dad, why are you talking about deathbeds on a live stream?
Ben was just asking, why are you talking about deathbeds on a live stream? Do not worry, Ben. It was just like a hypothetical of what people should value while they're alive, right? That's all. But I do like the idea of investing in the now. That present too. That's something I've had to work on. Even with the comic, like with this comic, I feel like a lot of what I would think about when I used to work on comics was like the future, like the end product. Like, I can't wait till this is a book. And I do think, to an extent, you use that to drive you forward and stuff, and that's great. I've found that I'm starting to get to the point, well, I'm not starting to. This whole book has been a much more pleasurable experience, like, to make than a lot of it, where... like, I've been enjoying the process more. And I do think that's good because when this thing's done, all I'm going to have is the book, right? And then the time that I invested in it. And either that time's going to be, like, horrible, like, the whole way through, or I can have fun with it. Because, you know, I don't know if that makes sense. So... that's kind of where I don't know. It's a weird thing. I'm just kind of rambling, guys, but these are interesting thoughts. Dylan in chats was saying we're morbid, Ben. I don't think that's a morbid thought, though. I do think, you know. So I know a lot of people who are like the kind of like the Keeping Up with the Joneses types, you know, where like, you know, a neighbor gets a new pool or something, and then, you know, they're like really I don't know if that makes sense. There's a lot of that in like suburban areas. We live in a suburban area, and there's definitely a lot of that. Like, I will witness neighbors, like, one will renovate their yard, and then the next neighbor is like, ha, and they renovate their yard, and then, like, one buys a camper, and then the next buys a bigger camper, and then the next year it's like they upgrade their camp. It's like I see a urbanship. And don't get me wrong, like, all of these things are nice. Like, you know, my wife and I are not really super wealthy, so it's like we're not going to be like upgrading our house for a while, right? But it's like, if you're meaning it, like, I don't know, I always feel a little sad for some of our neighbors, because like it's like that's what they kind of put everything into, you know, is like the next vacation or the next trip, or, you know what I mean? And it's like, or the next thing. And I think that Jib was saying, wait, you guys aren't even wealthy? Why am I here? Well, here's the thing, though. Like, we're not like dirt poor. You know what I mean? Like, we're very blessed. Like, we have a good life, but we're not, we're not wealthy. No. If we're middle class, we're very, very bottom middle class. But I think in the other territory for a little bit at least. But we're blessed, and we have a lot of really great things, and a home and all that kind of stuff. I love where we're at. I'm just saying, sometimes I do look at like the kind of keeping up with the Joneses stuff, and I do think that some of the thinking about like, well, what's going to matter when you're gone, right? Do you want to like do something significant or substantial like for the people around you, and also like, do you want to contribute something? Like as an artist, I may not have ambitions like Paul was talking about, that when you're younger, you might be like, I'm going to be the next Todd McFarlane, when you get older, you might be like, yeah, I'm not going to be Todd McFarlane, but still, I do want to contribute something like, to the thing I like. I want to contribute something to comics. I just think that would be cool. And I want to, make some cool stuff while I'm able. I think that's important. I don't know. I mean, I think that's kind of pretty rad, and that is kind of my joy. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Where are we at, you guys? We're rocking. We've been enjoying the stream. We've been doing a pretty hefty, awesome job at it. It is early in the morning, but my goal here is to finish this this business. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have a thing where you like really appreciate like a really nice car or something. That's kind of just my guitar thing is kind of there where I just appreciate guitars. Like they're very cool. I just really love and the thought behind them and the sound. They're just kind of a really cool thing. For such a like simple thing, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, it's very much like a classic car. It's my version of like a classic car. For me with cars, I'm like, I just want a functional car that's going to get me from here to there. Like I'm not muscle cars or something like that. And I can appreciate like a really nice car, but it's like, it's just kind of not my jam. But I'm guessing that how I feel about guitars is probably similar to like, somebody going to a car show and being like, whew, Paul said, what page of what are you at? I'm at 156 and I need to have 200 and something. Yeah, so it's a ways away, but still at the latter half. Speaking of the devil, guys, I do need to fix up this shading. I'm actually really glad I caught that lazy dialogue there. That's like the laziest thing I've done all book. Was the grabbing from the script, unwittingly like putting in a speech bubble action was just kind of wild that I did that. I'm kind of glad I caught it before. That would have been an embarrassing one to have the publisher catch. And trust me, I've made some slightly embarrassing mistakes before sequentially, but that would have been one where I would have been like, that was a pretty bad one. Call it sexy with a ZY. I like that. Yeah, this is quite, I don't know. I feel like the fun part of comics though is that it is like it's like anything in art where it's the challenge of it. The person cool is worthy. It's like worthwhile. Trying to make something, you know. Yeah, a Korean pattern on the jet ski that will slip by the publisher guaranteed. Well, the jet ski, you know, I do think at some point I might have to like sneak a jet ski in here. That would be pretty fun. Okay, I'm going to save this. I'm going to play another Jim Lujan cartoon, a shorter one, and then I'll be right back. So this one is, let's do Home Shopping Kemble.
Well, thank you, Colleen. I hope your daughter Kelly does well at North Carolina State this year. Well, we got another caller on the line. Elizabeth from Phoenix, Arizona. Elizabeth, what can we do for you? Are you ready to do some shopping, girl?
Oh, yes, Terry. I am ready to do some shopping today. I'm interested in that 2-book set you have. 2 Stories and Jacob's Apartment.
Oh, well, that's a great choice.
In fact, I bought these books before. I gave a set to my grandson, Hunter. These books are amazing.
Well, they sure are, and if you buy both of them, you really get the whole feel of the whole Joshua Kemble universe. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do, Terry. These books are remarkable because, for one, you can take them anywhere. You could put them in your car, and you can go to the park or the river. We've gone to the river. My husband Taylor and I, we just love it. And I murdered my husband at the river. Yeah, I did. But these still are amazing books.
So here's the thing. Jim was saying, okay, Josh, fan request. If you could talk like Bruce Springsteen for the rest of the stream, that would be really great. My problem is, this is going to be horrible to say, but I cannot do a Bruce Springsteen. Like, I remember how he sings, and I should remember how he talks. I don't. So I have no basis of comparison in my head. I know there's a movie. I don't know if it's out yet, but they're apparently making a movie about Bruce Springsteen with the actor from The Bear as Bruce Springsteen, which is kind of brilliant casting. So he's a really good actor too, so I think he can pull it off. But in my head, I just don't. I hate to say it, but like when I think of Bruce Springsteen, all I think of this is horrible, but it's the "Hey little girl, is you dead?" like that kind of thing. But I don't remember what his talking voice is like, you know. So what I'm chewing right now is nicotine gum, right? Because I'm quitting vaping and smoking, and I think I'm at being off the nicotine. So hoping to kind of keep that up. All right. Next panel. Let's do this. Jim, that is perfect, by the way. The new animation is a really good kind of break thing. You know what's weird? Sometimes I don't know if you guys have this, right? But when I was roughing this out, this page, there's occasionally times, like generally, when I thumbnail or... and that's the whole purpose of it, of like whether the page is going to work from the rough. But for some reason, every once in a while, I will have a page where I rough it out, and I'm not sure, right? And I kind of revise it, still kind of not sure. And then when I finally get to final, like where I'm at right now, well, a little bit before where I'm at right now, like inking it and shading it, where I'm like, oh, it like actually works. Do you guys ever have that? I mean, I think I have that less now than when I started. I think when I started as an artist, I had a lot of wasn't as aware of like what not to do, or like what to do to get results. So like, you know, when you're a younger artist, a lot of the time it's like, oh, that came out cool. How did I do that? And you're trying to kind of repeat it. Now it's like rare, but every once in a while it still rears its ugly head for me, and it'll be like, yeah, I don't know if it's good till I'm kind of at this point, and even when I'm at this point sometimes, till I kind of see it fully, like, let's look at that top panel, and then you see it all together, and it's like, right? But it's like a lot of faith and trust in the process as you go, you know? Jim was saying, the world needs Josh Springsteen. Josh Springsteen would be pretty amazing, I have to admit. All right, so we are doing the flat colors here. I'm definitely going to need to take a very brief little coffee break with you guys. Like we'll have like, it's like a tea break or a coffee break together. Cuz it is early in the morning, you know? Now, in general, like especially, you know, during the school semester, unless we're doing like, you know, Christmas break-ish or Thanksgiving break-ish or spring break-ish. Cheer. But the point being, you know, generally my streams are going to be like later at night. Just to kind of work around my work schedule. So it is kind of fun. I always do get a kick out of being able to do these in the morning. Maybe we'll play some music or something. Noodle on a guitar for a little bit. So here's a question. I don't even know if I know the answer to this, but I'm curious to hear you guys talk about it. You know how people have like comfort foods? Like for me, okay, this is going to sound kind of silly, but in the Long Beach area, and I think this is a chain, I think they have, in fact, I know there are a couple of these. There's definitely a couple of these in Huntington. I know of 2 in Huntington and 2 in Huntington Beach, and then 2 that are in Long Beach. And these are restaurants that my wife and I like absolutely love. Like, but it's funny because even when we'd go to these restaurants, like when we were in our early 20s, right? Living in Long Beach, and we would go to these restaurants, and everybody at the restaurant would be like 80 years old. like everyone at the restaurant would be like 80. Like there weren't a lot of folks our age eating there. Anyhow, called Polly's Pie, and I think there's probably others. But anyhow, we absolutely love that place, and I will tell you, one of my comfort foods is they have a chicken pot pie at Polly's Pie that is like, they serve it with like cranberry sauce like on top of it. I will tell you, that is a comfort food. Like, it could be, I could find out that like the world was ending and start panicking and then have that Polly's Pies chicken pot pie. And it's not like a microwavable one, right? It's like a very delicious one. That's a comfort food for me. Anyhow, you guys probably have comfort foods. Like another comfort food for me is definitely breakfast burritos. Not as much now, because I'm at an age where I can't do chorizo like I used to. I used to be able to eat chorizo breakfast burritos like it was going out of style, and now I can't touch them. Well, I can. I just have to really carefully plan it out and plan accordingly for the payback later, right? But still, breakfast burritos are like one of my just go-to super comfort foods, right? What I want to know is, first, go-to comfort food, and then second, on the art front, do you have a go-to comfort like art, like a movie or a comic that's like your comfort comic or your comfort animation or your comfort movie? Anyhow, I think that's an interesting thing, and I'm not quite sure. I got to kind of think through it as to like what my comfort movie is. Jim said Polly's Pies is fantastic. Yeah, and my wife and I like young, and like we always felt like it was like some top secret thing that like, because again, there just were never like a lot of college age kids going there. And yet when we were in college, we're like, hell yeah, let's go to Polly's. Like, and anyhow, Polly's is bomb. I miss it. We don't have one near us. I wish there was one, because we would eat there all the time. I am 80. No, you know what's funny is, like, I do feel like Jim, from when we were doing the art meetups and stuff, I think we have pretty similar tastes in like restaurants and stuff. I think that I don't know. I don't. It's the age. I think it's a sign of taste to like Polly's Pies. You know what I'm saying? Interesting. Dylan said, I don't think I really have a comfort movie, book, song, band, or singer or comic. Really? Comfort band. Okay, a comfort band, as cliche as it is, I would say Simon and Garfunkel are there. Partially because like my mom and dad were obsessed with Simon and Garfunkel, and I have a soft spot for it because it's like some of the first music that my parents were super into that I like super connected with. That wasn't like oldies, you know. Actually, that was kind of oldies at the time. I just have a real soft spot for Simon and Garfunkel. My wife really likes Hawaiian music. That's like her kind of comfort music. Like old like 60s Hawaiian music is said one of his comfort movies is Crazy Rich Asians. Are you serious? I have not seen that yet. Is it worth? I mean, now I'm guessing it's probably worth seeing. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Comfort movies. Okay, go-to comfort movie. I never get tired of it. Say Anything. Say Anything is one of my most watched movies. Like, I absolutely love that movie. That would be a comfort movie. Comfort TV shows. Dylan was saying Crazy Rich Asians is awesome. Dylan said, I feel weird and slightly alienated. Most of the population has comfort media. You know what else is like a total... Okay, this is going to be like an easy layup, and I think a lot of you guys would agree with this. You might agree with this too, Dylan. Mr. Rogers. Just Mr. Rogers' name is like just super comfortable. Like that is just like... I haven't watched it in a while. When my kid was younger... we would watch reruns of Mr. Rogers, and it was super just like... That is definitely one of those things where, like, almost anything bad... Muppet Show. Muppet Show would be up there. Muppet Show's a total comfort TV show. Dylan said, like, sure, I have my favorite media mostly from my childhood, but I don't watch that all the time. Well... Like, you don't always eat comfort food. It's just... Food is like... If all hell breaks loose and you happen to have that meal, it just makes you feel home for a little bit. Like, it just... You know what I mean? It's like... It's just a comfort food. Like, it's like... You know, it's like a hug. Dylan said, you're blurry again. No! No! Don't blur! How could you, YouTube? I'm so glad I'm switching internet providers. This is insane. I have never had... never! I'm going to turn into a complete Karen. Well, not even, really, because I didn't even Karen out or anything on the provider because I just literally just booked a better service. I just got fed up. I didn't even talk to them about it. I was like, okay, we're just getting a better service. This has been too long. Let me see how blurry I look on the screen here. Well, we had like 30 minutes of non-blurry. Oh yeah. That's nuts. How is that happening? How come it's clear? Okay. That is nuts. That is absolutely wild. Okay, I'm going to try something funny, okay? Let me try leaving the stream, okay? If this cuts out, let's try just resetting it. Okay. Am I clear again now? I'm really hoping I'm clear again now. Let me know in the chats. I left the stream. I came back. I conquered. I think we're clear again, right? I hope we're clear again. It's like, it's so bizarre because it's like crystal clear on StreamYard. Blurry still. Yeah, it looks like an old GIF. That's wild. Okay. Let's just see what we can do here. See if that worked. Did that work? Nope. That's the bizarre thing about this is, like, the chat's reading clear. Okay, let me see here. Just gonna try it again, guys. I don't know what's going on with this, so we'll just have to try this.
Do you see that bunny trying to get away from him?
This is so. What is going on with StreamYard today? That is so strange.
He said there's its remains. Okay, we need some food. I mean wood. That other character.
I just cannot understand why. That's extremely bizarre. Let me Google it. Let's just look it up while I'm going here. Let's see. StreamYard blurry to YouTube. Connect directly to... Okay. Test your camera. Restart... Ah.
Oh yeah, I don't take him on a walk with the dogs. They don't go with.
Okay, let's try doing some stuff here. Let me see if this works. Mm-mm. All right. I have no idea what's going on with the blurriness. I think it is my internet connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap up this panel here. I'm going to try kind of quitting out of some programs on my computer and see if that helps. But this is the first time I've experienced this blurry stuff, which makes me really glad that I'm switching internet providers because this is insane. Okay, so I quit out of as many programs as I could.
Well, she does, and she has a license. But that
I think we just got to roll with the blur. Since we can't see the art, I'm just going to go to full face while I work. So, like, well, I guess you guys can kind of see it. Well, that's strange. Is it on, like, a mass delay, too? Let's see. Yeah, it's just a big, blurry business. See, just testing, guys. I apologize for all the buffering and nonsense. Let's see if that works. I'm going to try reloading. do. I just don't think it's going to clear up. I think it's a connection thing. So, I mean, my apologies. I really like to have like a crisp, clear connection. Let me know if that's any better. But at the same time, I'm just going to roll with it, and we're just going to kind of finish our internet connection till it's fixed. What I am going to do is finish this panel, and then I will probably cut the stream short because the best I can think is like maybe the computer. I've been working since like and then also like really late into the night. I'm on a relatively old computer, so it might solve itself once I restart. But yeah, the blurry screen has never been an issue before, so that's a new one. But it makes me very happy we're replacing. Roll with the blur. Yeah, that's my favorite. So anyhow, we're basically going to just wrap up. I think I'll wrap up flatting this panel. And that actually kind of works out because at 11, we got to go pick up family from LAX too. So, beautifully. I do like the idea of getting some coffee, though, at this point. Dylan's like, rolling. Okay. Why? What was Limp Bizkit thinking? Like, didn't they have an album that was called like Hot Dog Water or something? I feel like they had an album that was called Hot Dog Water, which sounds like if Jim Lujan were doing a parody of like a nu metal band, that might be a Jim Lujan nu metal band album title, is like Hot Dog Water. Jim said the images are clear enough. I love it. And to me it was just like one of the at it. Sometimes I'll feel bad about like I feel like our society is getting worse, or like you get kind of depressed about, you know, the state of music or the state of the world or the state of politics. And then you have to remember there's a point where like the biggest band in the world released an album called Hot Dog Water and feel a little better. You know, the state of the world. Like, I feel a little better about the state of the world knowing that I just can't see that flying nowadays. Like, yeah, Jim was saying, truthfully, I think the blur is your internet connection only. I agree. I think it is. And I think I'm just kind of stuck with the connection I got. But yeah, so do you guys ever feel like thankful that we're not in an era where like the biggest album there is called Hot Dog Water? And am I remembering that wrong? Like, was it Hot Dog Water? Am I crazy? I feel like it was actually called Hot Dog Water. Somebody sat down, like a band sat down and was like, you know, it'd be the coolest thing to call our album. Maybe that was like the Limp Bizkit equivalent to like, or it just seems like a genius idea. Maybe in reality, if I do that, people will be like, he was on a really good roll. And then the jet skis showed up. But I do feel like there's a line that I remember even at the time just being pretty weirded out by the new metal craze. Jim said, so glad you live streamed this morning. Also, thanks again for the interview last night. Great stuff. Got to jump off. Talk to you later. Awesome. Yeah, I'll probably be hopping off in a little bit too. Thank you, Jim, for hanging out. I'm going to try to finish this. And hopefully the... wow, it's just kind of a bummer that the... I wonder if it was blurring like that on Artcasters yesterday. Because the bizarre part about it is like not seeing that on StreamYard and seeing that on YouTube. It's very strange when your preview of it is like crystal clear. And it's only through seeing it on YouTube that I see the madness. Okay, we're going to do the glove here. The glove. Oh, have you guys heard the it's too bad Jim just topped off because I think he'd get a kick out of this one. I found out the other day that there is a massive like crazy conspiracy theory out there that Bill Burr and Billy Corgan and it started online, and then I guess that Billy Corgan did like a YouTube video where he was being interviewed, and he told this story of his mom, like his stepmom, I guess, was talking about how Billy Corgan's dad had sired 16 this is what I was listening to while I was working last night. And that, like, at one point, Billy Corgan had, like, basically, his stepmom told him that she thought that Bill Burr, like, a secret child of Billy Corgan's dad. Now, here's the thing that's interesting about it is there's like a big split because of this thing. So then there was like a YouTube show where Billy Corgan was like set up to like confront Bill Burr about it, and like they kind of made it a bit, but then Bill Burr seemed visibly upset about it. And it's like the guy who created Bobby's World, I think, that was the podcast that all of this happened on. So anyhow, if you guys are looking for a crazy YouTube rabbit hole, look up Bill Burr and Billy Corgan. It was fascinating, okay? The thing about it, it all started as like a meme online because they're both named Bill, right? And they just look eerily similar. And then it escalated to a point where I guess, like, I don't know. Anyhow, it's this whole thing. But here's the question, if you guys have looked into this whole Bill Burr, Billy Corgan thing. Are they just like super meta, like humor bit? I'd imagine it's a bit, right? It's gotta be a bit. So there's this whole argument online now where people are like, are they doing like an Andy Kaufman thing? I mean, Billy Corgan runs like a pro wrestling league, And then, so kayfabe wouldn't be like, off the table. And then obviously Bill Burr's a pretty capable actor and comedian, so a lot of people are like speculating that whole thing was like a very extravagant bit that they're still kind of playing into. And then there's a whole slew of people online who like sincerely think these people are related. Oh, and I just remembered that it all happened on like Howie Mandel's show on his YouTube. So anyhow, I rabbit hole of that like last night while I was working, and was just, if it's a bit, it's really well done. But it's kind of funny, and like even if you Google just Billy Corgan and Bill Burr, it's like a thing. It's like a whole thing online. Like there are people who sincerely believe that they are secret brothers, and it's kind of wild to me. Because they're both named Bill. Man, like, it's moments like that where the internet is just a fascinating place. Like, it's a fascinating place. We're in fascinating times, guys, okay? But it's a whole thing. I mean, and then I will tell you, the way they played it out is just fascinating. And like, Billy Corgan to this day is like swearing that he was 100% telling the truth, right? Like that, like none of this was like a bit. He felt bad because he, made Bill Burr uncomfortable and stuff. It's this whole thing, because his story of it is that his dad happened to be touring in Boston, right? And that his mom had told him that the dad had a kid in Boston. And also that his mom had said that he named the kid Bill, right? And so yeah, it's just, I don't know. So it's a very compelling and interesting, weird conspiracy theory. If you haven't opened that can of worms, you're welcome. I don't know. It was just interesting, and like I if it is kayfabe, which I think is very highly likely, here's my prediction on it. I am guessing that, I mean, Howie Mandel's pretty known to troll, right? That Bill Burr is notorious for some time of a troll. And then Billy Corgan runs a pro wrestling league, so I don't think trolling's like beyond. But they played it so straight in everything. Even now, like I think Bill Burr changed his Twitter to show him with his dad, just to show that it wasn't Billy Corgan's dad. But like he hasn't updated his Twitter in years. It's just this whole thing, and I guess it started like 2 months ago or something, or 3 months ago. But my thought is, my speculation on the whole thing, I think they're doing just like super Andy Kaufman, playing off of the internet meme, because it was becoming a meme. Like people online were just saying, they have to be related, because they saw that they kind of look the same. And it's mainly that they have stubble and they're both bald. And then these wild conspiracy theories started forming. So I don't know. I think it is highly likely. I'd say like 98% likely that it is a bit. That it's reaching like Andy Kaufman levels of performance, because it's still it's still a conspiracy, and it's like spreading around online. And I have to say, on the the 98% certainty that the whole thing is a bit based on the meme. I just think if it is, it's like it's possibly one of the most like kind of artsy Andy Kaufman-esque things that I've seen done. If it's not a bit, it is just horrendously strange how much it seems like a bit. But it also is very, like, they do it in a way where I watched it and I had a moment or two of being like, I bet they are brothers. You know what I mean? I had a moment or two of being like, that checks out. If it's a bit, though, anyhow, I'm just saying, you're welcome. Is all I'm saying. It's kind of like, it's kind of my new jam for looking stuff up, you know?
Maybe it's because you don't even try to get educated because you're so. Alright, I quit both of my jobs. I got a bat. There's a child in my
So here we go.
going down the street, walking down the street. And it's
I'm going to finish up this panel. I'm going to call it. If you guys have been tuning in, well, we're not quite done. But if you guys have been tuning in, I'd really appreciate it if you hit like and you hit the bell so you get notifications when I'm about to go live. I would recommend after this to look up the Billy Corgan, Bill Burr conspiracy. It's super interesting. It's very funny. If you aren't, otherwise occupied, I'd also encourage you guys check out Kevin Cross's live stream. It was really cool. It's on Kevin Cross's art channel, and I think you guys would get a kick out of that. It's very inspiring. He's a good storyteller, and I'm excited to see mother streaming. And if you haven't yet hit the bell, right, so you get notifications when I'm about to go live, I'll probably be streaming a little later today, after we get back from LAX. So probably like late tonight kind of stream. But we're going to call it. So anyhow, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for making art, and bear with me with all the technical difficulties. Let me know what you guys think of the new branding when it wasn't blurry. What were your thoughts on it? Hopefully you guys like the new look, and I will see you guys on the next live stream. And with that, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you on.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to crumble!
I'm Joshua Kemble, and welcome to Joshua Kemble's live stream. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 20 years. I was an art director for 9 years. And when I'm not art directing and working on illustrations and graphic designs, I'm working on comic books and graphic novels, and that's usually what I do during my streams. And while conversations can go all over the place on this stream, from spicy and entertaining to goofy and silly, one thing stays consistent throughout every stream. I'll always be working on art. So pull up a chair, get your art supplies out, and get ready for an entertaining show that'll keep you company while you work on your own personal art projects. This is Joshua Kemble's Art Stream.